Good morning, guys. Oh, just trying to get everything set up here. Ah, good morning. Let's see. I know we do have news today. I saw that somewhere. Uh, we don't really have any market moving news today. Everything else is kind of just two-star news. Uh, this must be non-farm payroll week. Yeah, a lot of three-star news tomorrow. All right, no three-star news today. So this morning we're going to play out the 15 minutes. Uh, kind of want to see. I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing a nice little like 5 minute trend line break today. You got one setting up. So really nice 5 minute trend line break for possible later today. Man, woke up too early this morning. I just cannot wake up today. All right. No sound detected. Oh, I don't know. Let's see here. I think everything's working correctly with my volume this morning. Let's see here. Sorry about that. Good morning, guys. I don't know if I can get rid of that one thing here where it says welcome to the live stream where it shows you got to be 18 or older. Kind of makes it bunchy up in there. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. I don't, let's see. There you go. I guess I never noticed how bunched up that looked. Which I've never looked at it like this either, so okay. How's everyone doing today? No 3-star news today, so we shouldn't have to worry about no kind of like interruption as far as the setups go today. Or we don't have to wait. A lot of times whenever we have 3-star news, you kind of have to wait and make sure that we don't get 3-star news. So far this week, well, Monday was a good day. Like I pointed out yesterday, the last couple Mondays we've been struggling a little bit. And so yesterday I think we took 3 total trades. So we just didn't overtrade. We made sure we stopped. We got our profit, then kind of got off the stream. And we didn't take any trades going into the lunch hour. That's usually a struggle too. I've showed you guys many times where if you pull up the ICT kill zones, a lot of times it's just better to trade in that New York AM session. And then you have a little pocket that goes from AM to the lunch hour. And usually just stay out of that lunch hour. Most of the time it chops around. And then after lunch hour, it'll pick a direction in that PM session. So right now, it'll constantly move up as my trend line moves up. But 28 is definitely a place that I'm looking for shorts this morning. If we can close back below 68. So we'll leave that there just in case. And we also got a nice little 5-minute possible breakout this morning too. If you like to trade these 5-minute breakouts. The only issue I see right here is that we have a lot of support here at the 80. So you would have to get through that 80 first because it looks like we done bounced off this thing so many times. So I don't know how many more it would have to bounce out before it breaks. Hopefully we get a nice clean setup with the 15 minutes. I haven't really looked to the left and see where we could go because I feel like we're already at the highs. Oh, man. Let's see. The only thing about the highs, man, they just keep going up and up and up. It's so hard. To me, when it's at all-time highs, it's very tough to trade because you don't really have no judgment to where we go. Sometimes we get these all-time highs, man, we just keep going and going and going and going, just like goodness. And it can suck you into shorts, too, because you're thinking, man, we're all-time highs, we need a pullback. Sometimes it just does not pull back and just keeps going. So this is why I'm kind of hoping for a short today. I wouldn't mind seeing a little retracement. Pull this trend line here. The 50% all the way back down at 420, which is the VWAP here. So could get a nice little pullback. That's what I would prefer to see today. But, you know, wanting and getting is two different things, I guess, when it comes to the market. You're just kind of at the mercy of it because I usually just trade the moment. I was also trading overnight with the methodical man last night. So I think we made like $94 last night. Actually, I was up 167, but I think I got hammered with fees yesterday. This is just a sim account. Basically, this is just what I've been practicing gold with. So that's not even a eval or funded. You can see it'll say sim 101. So I've been using that to practice gold with. Golds can be kind of tough to trade. I heard it's better to trade at nighttime. And I guess I found out last night, I didn't know gold had like a volatility inserted in it around 8 o'clock at night. I saw that last night for the first time because I've never followed gold or I've never watched it. I spend too much time watching the NQ to try to watch another market. Because a lot of times what I like to do is I like watching the market for patterns. I like watching for patterns, and I like using support and resistance with those patterns. So yesterday it took us, I want to say, the second trade. So we took the first 15-minute breakout yesterday. We only got 10 points. We got a little greedy. We've done this multiple times where we get up 40, 50, and 60 points, and we let it come back and break even us. So we did leave about $100 on the table yesterday. Then the second one, it ended up going up over 100 points, but I only ended up taking like 30 or 40 points out of it. So we left points on both sides yesterday. I am going to be cautious on the breakout to the downside today just because of that 80. That 80 is the only thing that worries me. I'm just not sure if we get through that. So it was kind of like yesterday. I think we had somebody in the lobby take the breakout and we got stuck at the 40 level yesterday. Let me see. I guess I haven't really checked to see where the highs and lows of the markets were. Let me see. Let me take some of this stuff off so it's easy to see here. So you do got a nice target to the downside if we break. We could target these London, the top of this London first hour or so. What is this thing? Opens at 1 and goes to like 4. So, and what these are is these are the kill zones for each session. So I feel like this is kind of where the liquidity is, especially if we can break the yesterday's New York PM highs. And that's kind of where we've been consolidating. You kind of look to the left and you can see where these levels are and out of each area of the morning. So I feel like all the liquidity pool is going to be towards the shorts this morning. So if you enter with like 1 or 2 micros, maybe take one target off here. Then if we get that really big run today, we can go all the way back down to the London lows, would give us a nice, 100-point plus move today. And we also haven't ran all the way down to the AM session either. So just possible targets this morning to the downside. So to the downside, first target 452. Don't really have any targets to the upside because we're at all-time highs. So you're just kind of blindly moving up this morning. If we go up, you don't really have anything to target. So that's what I was saying about kind of it's harder to trade when you're all-time highs because you don't have anything that you can look for a target. You're just kind of blindly moving up when you're going through all-time highs. So we'll mark that 54 out just so we don't forget about it, our 50 level. And it could be a possible nice little bounce area because you can see you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got about 6 5-minute candles sitting there, so could possibly get a nice bounce there too. Me, I would prefer us to keep on selling through it and go to the lows and rerun this whole 5-minute trend line thing this morning. Where's point of control at today? Point of control is sitting at 495, so that's kind of in your middle of your volume at the moment. If you like to look at the point of control, a lot of times, anytime we get too far away from that point of control, we kind of pull back. So that's kind of the middle of the volume for the bulls and bears, which is at 495. What's up, Christian? We still got about 10 more minutes before the market opens. We don't really do a lot as far as like stuff for the pre-market stuff. All we do is we pretty much take our first trade based off on what the 15 minutes of the first hour does, which is the 15 minutes from 9 o'clock to 9:15. And that's what this is. Here. So far, it kind of looks like we're just kind of chopping sideways. So what we're going to look for on the breakout this morning, we're just going to look for quick 10 points and a runner. But like I said, to the top side, we really don't have any targets because we're at all-time highs. But to the downside, we do have targets down at the 450. Like I said, we also have a nice little 5-minute breakout setting up here too. If you like to trade the 5-minute trend line breakouts. Gotta find something a little bit more. I wish YouTube would let us play music in the background, kind of like TikTok does, but they don't. Now, I will be copy trading a short if we can print a 5-minute candle as right now below the 468, 470 area. I'll get that set up over here just in case. We'll just wait and see what happens. You're going to take a short at the 50s. That's if we can get that's just a target to the downside you can look at if you can find an entry with the short. I don't know which way we're going to go, but I'm just saying, like, that's just targets that I'll look for. All right, guys, we still got about 7 minutes before the market opens here. To the upside, like I said, you're kind of just, I don't know. Let me see. Let me change my data and see how far it'll let me go back and see if this is all-time highs. But I'm pretty sure it is. Is that a wick there? Maybe 540? It looks like there's a wick at the top of 540 from the 30th. Let me change the data on the charts where I can go back a lot farther, because I only can go back 5 days at the moment. So let's just do, say, what is this? 300 days out of this year so far? Oh, shoot. Let's see. Change to the day chart and see. All right, give it a minute to upload. It looks like that's weird. Like, no, we got targets to the upside. Looks like the all-time highs is sitting up there at 26,400. Okay. I just had to add more to my thing to see that on the daily chart. All right, here's the daily chart here. So this was back, November. It looks like we're all the way up at the 65,400. So we got a lot of room so that we can look forward to the upside. The daily breakout, guys. So let's see. Don't really ever look at the daily chart. Most of the thing that I look at is like the hour, the 15 minutes, and the 5 minutes. What do we got? 4 more minutes? Let's see. Just hit, looks like we're hitting this wick here off of this candle at the 502s. Looks maybe the next one up 600. Wow, maybe. All right, guys, less than 2 minutes, 30 seconds. So right now we're just kind of stuck in this first 15 minutes of the hour. So what we may have to wait on too, if we break out, just wait for that first initial breakout, then wait for the retest. I don't really know, Christian. You know, we just kind of play at the moment. We just kind of wait and just see what happens. You know, I kind of just trade the moment whenever I'm taking these 15-minute breakouts. We're just kind of at the mercy of the market. Like I said, usually I just look for levels that we could run to if we break out of the 15 minutes and if we're able to find an entry. So like if we break shorts, I want to try to target at least the 450 down there if we end up in a short. Usually just a lot of chart time. What I like to do is I like watching charts and looking for patterns. Then I use those patterns with like support and resistance because I trade a lot of support and resistance and breakout trades. So right now, this would be a 5-minute trend line breakout right here. So if this wasn't so close to pre-market, like I would probably take this during the regular market. So I'd wait 30 more seconds to this candle to print, wait for it to pull back, and once it broke back down here, we'd probably take a short. Just because it's breaking out of that 5-minute trend line here. But it's happening right as the market opens. So it kind of, anything that's right there at the market open, it makes it super tough to take this. I'm just on 3 micros at the moment. All right, here comes the... Hopefully it pulls back and retests this area. So at least we got a retest. First target. We got the, oh, it might be too choppy to keep my runners going. Damn it. I'm going to target 60. Then we'll leave a runner. Like I said, these 15 minutes are super fast and choppy. As you can see how we're wicking back and forth, it makes it really tough. So basically we broke out of the 15 minutes. Remember I said, look, we just retested. We retested. I already had the fib pull. I don't know if we'll get our runner though. It looks like our runner is about to get stopped out. That's the only thing about taking early trades is your runners just get smashed a lot of times. That happened yesterday, so we had to wait on the second entry, I think. The second entry, we were able to grab something. Ah, goes our runner. Son of a bee. I don't know if it's going to continue down. It looks like it's... Still finding some support there. I'm going to go to break even fairly quick. Yeah, son of a bitch. Super wiki so far today. I mean, we're staying... Okay. There's our 15 minutes. All right, so we're back inside of our 15 minutes, so now we have to wait. Wait and see what happens, if it's going to hold. Guys, I'm not sure what kind of delays on TikTok either. But these early morning trades, you got to be fairly fast when it's like in that first couple minutes, just because you're getting a lot of candles that are whipping back and forth a lot. Sorry if I don't see the chat right away. We're trading on Ninja. Ooh, this might be a big run to the upside, guys. Let's see. We're about to hit the top here. We got a minute left on this candle. I really don't want to jump in until we get that next print. So we're going to wait for the next 5-minute candle to print here. We got 1 minute left. Yeah, I bet you we didn't really make anything off of that last move. I don't even see it. No, I guess it ended up being a break-even trade because I don't even see no green with that. I'm hoping that this 5-minute candle closes right above here where it's about to close. Ripper. All right, let's see if our runner can hold to it right now. So it's easy if you're just looking for nice little 10-point trades. These work out really well on the 15 minutes. This is like probably the better of the setup where you close right above the 15 minutes and you wick back in it and just rip. That first one's always the toughest trade. Dude, this thing's gonna make me want to start taking profits somewhere. I'm scared to get up 40, 50 points and not take anything. Oh, shoot. And we still got 3 minutes left on this candle. It's like, man, this thing could easily go 100 points. Wow. This thing's like 65 points. If I can get up to 30, they'll give us a nice 100 points, and we'll just close this trade at the 100 points. We still got 2 minutes left on this 5-minute candle, so we got plenty of time to get there, guys. Plenty of time to get there. Come on, break the 600. I do not want it to come back and lose all these points, guys, so I'm going to follow it up. I think I'd rather just take 50 points and be happy with it. Because I did that yesterday morning where I got up 50, 60 points, and I didn't take no money off of it because I let it come back and break me even. Come on, push, push, push. 600s is always a tough target, and we could pull all the way back off that 600 level. So that's the only thing scary about hitting that 600. Come on. Push. All right, we're going to lock in at least 50. I'm not going to let this thing come back and not take anything like I did yesterday. This is probably one of the best looking 5-minute, 15-minute breakouts here. If you're looking, if you could have been patient and waited on the second one. This was like yesterday. The first one failed. The first one, you did get your 10 points this morning, but the runners got stopped out. But this one here is that second move, kind of like yesterday. Similar, not the same setup, but similar type thing where the first one failed, we pull back, then the next one blast. If we can break those 600s, we should get a pop. All right, here we go. We just, oh, come on. All right, I'm going to lock in 60 points since we broke the 600s because we'll probably have to pull back off of that 10. So a lot of times I like to enter trades like this too. And we're about to have a new 5-minute candle. So we could have easily a 50% pullback of this whole candle all the way back down in here. Oh no, it's like go. All right, we're going to lock in 70. We could have a pullback here too. So this is what I'm saying. Okay? So we're just gonna settle for the 70. Let me pull fib on this candle and see if you get a 50% pullback. 50%'s back down to 75. Oh shoot, I got this backwards. Oh, it just bounced right below the 80s. This is minis, basically the NQ, but it's MNQ. So minis are $20 a point. These are $2 a point, depending on how many you use. So we were trading at $6 a point. We had three micros. Three micros. What it does is it allows you to get drawdown without busting your account or just wrecking your account with one trade from, over leveraging. If you don't over leverage, you can withstand some drawdowns or you can withstand some small losses. All right, so 15 minutes worked out nicely today. Even though, like I said, most of the time it takes one or two trades that we'll enter to try to catch the breakout. But this setup, I do like a lot, where we manipulate the 15 minutes, then we break out to the upside where you get this close barely above the 15 minutes. Then you get that little wick where it just pokes his head back inside the 15 minutes and then just rips. So if this 40 and 50% holds here, we should continue higher. Who usually stay? Christian, did you stay in this trade? I think you usually take these long trades. Usually you always find your way into these long ones. Yeah, so now we'll just kind of have to sit on the sideline, guys, because we don't really have a setup. Oh, your long didn't get filled? Oh, that sucks, man. Are you having some issues with your trading platform where it's not filling your orders? Man, I still feel like there's probably more room to the upside here. This may just turn into one of these like slow grinding days. Or the worst is whenever we get this big move when the market opens and then the rest of the day you're just kind of sitting here. See, I feel like we could easily get a pushback all the way down to the 500s because that's where your point of control is at. So that's the only thing that worries me about when we hit these whole numbers like this. Or we could pull all the way back inside this 15 minutes here. Well, I don't know. Usually this is another bearish type or bullish type candle where you get a small little body. It'll just continue higher. See if it happens. Usually if the wicks are smaller, it's usually a little bit better. But most of the time you get a big candle with a small candle. A lot of times it'll continue higher for you. Who's going to win the battle here at the 600s? Like I said, guys, there's nothing for me to do now. All we can do is just sit here and watch charts. I really don't have another entry or setup unless we pull back inside this 15 minutes. And sometimes that takes a little while. So you just kind of stuck here watching charts. Or we would have to, man, we'd have to sell way back down in the 500s to get another setup. Oh, that 600 is the 600 going to win. So whenever you're trading in a whole number, so this is why, to me, the hardest numbers to trade in between is the 610 and the 590. I always find those the hardest numbers to take trades within because you just never know what's going to happen in between here. A lot of times on evals, what I'll do, I won't do this on fundeds, but if you're pushing up to the 10, see how we hit the 10? We always reject off the 10, like 90% of the time. Then you get a pushback to the 90. So most of the time the 90 will hold. And then if it pops back above the 600, we'll look for 10 points. So this one did pull back to the 75, and that's pretty normal too. Then once we broke back above 600, I'd look for 10 points. And so you would have got your 10 points if you got when you took it back above the 600. But I don't do those like on a funded account, just eval only. The EMAs, I have them on here, but I don't really use them this early in the morning. Right now we have the 9 EMA, the 21, and the 50. And this big fat blue line is the VWAP. And usually we use that on the 2-minute chart. There's this one setup that I've been practicing on the 2-minute charts with the methodical man. And that's what that's on there for. Other than that, I don't really use it. It's just there. Most of my early morning trades come off of this 15-minute candle. It's that first 15 minutes. In SPY? Is that what you're trading right now, Christian? You're over there trading a SPY? I've watched the SPY and I've tried to trade it, but I've spent so much time watching the NQ. It's so hard for me to trade other things. So the NQ and the ES is probably the only two things that I probably look at. But the NQ I look at the most. Chart time's always important. It can be kind of boring sometimes. But the setups don't really get much easier in this 15-minute candle. The only thing that you have to do when you're trading this in the beginning, you just kind, if it goes against you, you just got to try to take a small loss, because the next move you're going to get that 60, 70, 80 point move, which you can recoup a 10-point loss or a 5-point loss. That's why that's what I'm saying. I didn't know what kind of delay there was. That's why I was going to break even fairly quick on some of these trades, because I wasn't sure about the wiki action that we're having. Because when it's very wiki, slingshotting back and forth, it's so hard to keep your runners going in that type of price action. So either it's going to go or it's not going to go. Man, this thing is creating a nice little bull flag here. So we're up 170 at the moment. So we do have a little profit that we could take another small trades. I think I'm going to downsize to the 2 micros though this time. This way, if we do take a loss, we're not risking everything that we made from this big move. Like I said, 2 micros. And I may even close it if it comes back below 80 here. Don't really want to see it back below 80. If it comes back below 80, we'll just close this trade. Yeah, so 80, kind of this 80 to 76 is going to be my line in the sand here. First target. We're going to go pretty much close to break even, because I'm not sure how far we could go up on this. But, shit. We at least got our 10 points if it comes back and stops us out. The runner is like it's struggling up there at the 610s. We're going to hit this thing 3 times and reject it. All right, we're just going to go to break even. Come on, 600 hold. Nope. It did pay about 20 points, but I was hoping for a lot more on this runner here. And it could keep going, but that's okay. We're just playing it safe. So a lot of times in my trades, I look for 10 points. Yeah, we keep our losses fairly small, Rat, on our entries. Because we find ourselves into a lot of big trades where we're getting 60, 70 points. It doesn't bother me to take like small losses with a couple micros. Because all it takes is what? A big 50, 60 point move to get like 150 to 200 bucks. Yeah, with the NQ, you need some pretty big stop loss sometimes. A lot of times I won't take them if they're too massive just because I don't feel like risking that. Even with one micro, you can be risking like $100 sometimes on some of these 50-point candles like this one. I mean, this one's what, almost a 80-point candle here. So this is a pretty massive 5-minute candle. I mean, we're still creating a nice little bull flag here on the 5 minutes. So if this thing trades back into our 15 minutes, I will look for an entry out of this if it comes back down to the 20s here. All right, about to have a new 5-minute candle. So that would be yours, about 20 points. May get stopped out on this one. Kind of want to see it go. It pretty much tapped above that previous close of that candle and then just pulled back hard. So, yeah, it looks like it's going to get us on this one. A lot of times, if you can get about 3 or 4 candles on the 5-minute pullback, a lot of times you'll get like a nice little bull flag breakout. You just got to be super patient with these 5 minutes. Then if this trade fails, we'll just wait for us to pull even deeper back into this 15 minutes. But a lot of times, if you can get 3 5-minute candles on a red, then if you can get the next green, whatever next green candle you get to break above this, a lot of times it'll at least run and take out the previous wick. But there's no 100% when trading, so. We use multiple prop firms. We're using Bulinox and Apex mostly is the ones that we use for most of our trading. And I'm also using Padeas. Padeas had a really good count going for like $8. I don't think you can get any cheaper than that starting out trading. $8. All right, we're about to hit our first target. Oh, don't wick me. All right, we're going to go to break even. And if we get a big runner, we get a big runner. If not, we'll just take our 10 points and move on to the next trade. Padeas. I'll bring it up here in a minute. It's over on my quant hour charts, so come on. Come on, Nani. We just started trading those the other day, and that's on Quant Tower here. I have to trade those on Quant Tower because they don't have no kind of account with Ninja, so it's just Quant Tower only. And I like Quant Tower charts. They look nice and clean. Where's my Quant Tower charts at? Right here they are. So this is Quant Tower. They got nice, clean charts. It's just I'm just not used to them. There's a name for these 3 candle pullback for the 5-minute. It's called like the 3 King Salute or something like that. It's like a candle pattern that you can put on your charts. I should have just took my freaking 10 points because this could probably come back and stop us out. How much longer we have on this 5-minute candle? We really need to see like the second good candle print and blast. I don't know where the 50% of this is. My order's right at the 50%, so we'll risk a little bit. This way, if the 50% holds, we're going to hope that it's just a 23% pullback or a 40% pullback and just goes. Haven't just been able to get through these 610s up here. I feel like if we get through these 610s, I mean, I feel like we could go for a minute because then you can use these 610 wicks as your stop loss, especially if it prints above the 610. So we're up 30 points now. So I'm not really sure if I should start taking profit because I don't know if we're going to pull it all the way back. And that's like giving up like 60 or 70 bucks here. Wow, we just hit our 100-point entry if we stayed in our original trade at that 5.29. Yeah, so far today, everything's been fairly clean except that very first breakout, Christian. I wasn't sure if we were going to break out to the bottom side, but I didn't want to miss it, so I was like, I'm going to try it. But we only got 10 points off of that first one. And the second was kind of a break-even trade, but the second breakout to the upside, it's been just straight to the moon. Man, we have plenty of time to be a 100-point candle with this 5-minute candle. We got 2 minutes left. So plenty of time to get up there. Oh, were you sure? You short biased this morning, Bar? Oh, I hate whenever I get like the wrong side of the market and I just start getting wrecked on my bias. I try not to have one, but man, there's just days where I'm like, okay, I'm going to be short. Then I just keep looking for shorts over and over and just get wrecked. We all have cooked days. Don't ever let someone tell you that trades that every day is a green day. There's no such thing. Like that's what I was talking about yesterday. The last 2 Mondays before yesterday, I got destroyed. That's because what happens with me, you can tell where I make mistakes at. If I'm not stream trading, I'm usually a little bit more cautious whenever I'm stream trading. But if I'm off by myself, sitting in here, in my little office area, I'll end up doing stupid stuff. I'll go full tilt, not full tilt, but like full port or over leverage or something stupid. So usually I do better streaming just because it's just a little bit more cautious. That's a Fibonacci. So I pull Fibonacci on all my large candles. This way, what we're doing is we're looking to see what kind of pullback we're going to get on the candles. So the idea with Fibonacci is most of the time on your pullbacks, if it goes over the 50 to 60% mark of your candle, it's going to be a complete pullback. It's just going to go all the way back to the bottom of the candle, or it could just be selling off. So look at this last candle, this candle right here. If we go back down and pull fib on this candle here, see how big, this is a big candle. You got to really pull fib on these big candles to make sure that it's going to continue. So look, it only pulled back 23% of the candle. And that usually means that we're going to stay bullish. So or bearish, depending on what direction you're going. So I bet you if I pull fib on this candle right here, I bet you that's probably the 50% of the candle pullback. Look at there, 50% to the T. So if that 50% of that candle holds, more likely we're going to continue back up. So let's see what this one is. That one looks like a 23% too. So I'm hoping it stays like this and just continue ripping. I got to start taking profits somewhere in a minute because I'm already up 60 points, and I really hate for this thing to just come back and stop me out for nothing. So if I lock into 30 points here, so that'll be like locking in another 50 points. So that'd be like a total of a 100-point move so far. Actually, I'll just do 16. So what is that? 96, 106, that's 30, so 26. So that'll be 50 points there. And I'll stay right under the 40%. So that's what I'll do. I'll just stay right under the 40%. That 40% will be a pullback to the 25 here. I'm not sure which one's speaking. Usually if it's not Papa Powell, I don't even care who's speaking. Papa Powell and Trump's usually the only one that'll move the market when they're speaking. Everybody else, you might get some movement, but you're not going to get the movement from whenever those two people are speaking. We might get a fairly deeper pullback here, but that's okay. Like I said, We were shooting for that 100 points if we could, and we still could get it. But like I said, I just need to lock in something because I don't want this thing to come all the way back and we only end up with like 10 or 20 points. No, if it's not them, I don't even usually care who's speaking. Those are the only two people you have to worry about when you're trading if they're speaking, because they can just say whatever, then the market will just go crazy, especially when Papa Powell speaks on those FOMC meeting days, get some pretty wild volatility. Then I guess I don't really follow like the president speaking stuff. Like so I have no idea when he speeches. Usually I'll hear it from another lobby saying someone else's speech, or sometimes they'll have it listed on investing.com. So if you look at investing.com, it'll tell you if either Powell or Trump is speaking. So if you go to investing.com here, this is what I use. I know there's others too. Just go to tools, economics calendar. So there should be some nice big movement later tomorrow. Tomorrow is a lot of 3-star news. So that's today. That's Europe, Brazil, the Netherlands maybe. I'm not sure if that's what that. New Zealand. That's probably New Zealand. Yeah, New Zealand. That's it. Okay, so we got member the FOMC guy he was talking about was member Bowman. But tomorrow, there's lots of 3-star news tomorrow morning. So you got the APD or ADP non-farm payroll. So that means this is non-farm payroll Friday. You get some pretty crazy movements there. Global services PMI, then also non-manufacturing PMI. So a lot of 3-star news tomorrow morning. Let's see. Let me go to that calendar part again and look for Friday. I bet you Friday is non-farm payroll. And if you like to full port accounts, that is the time to do it because you get like a 100-point move on non-farm payroll. Let's see. What did we got Thursday? Oh, I guess that was Thursday. I was reading off a while ago. Friday. Well, maybe it's not. I got stopped out. My runner got stopped out. Okay, so we don't have like normal 3-star news. We do have some kind of core PCE price index for Friday morning, but that's the only thing I see for Friday. I thought it was going to be non-farm payroll, but it's not. All right, 2 setups that kind of worked out perfectly. So this is one that we don't get every day. This is probably one of the easier 15 minutes to join if you can watch for this pattern. So what you want to see is us blast out the bottom of the 15 minutes and be like a fake breakout. So this was a fake breakout to the downside. You want to see it pushed all the way back through the 15 minutes, barely clip it. Then this next candle, what you're doing is you're waiting to see a wick. You want to see this little wick pop back inside this 15 minutes, which is this box that you see I have marked out here. Then you just get long as soon as it breaks your previous candle and just see where it takes you. The next one, this is a candle pattern. This is called like the 3-man salute. I don't know if it'll pop up, but you can go to indicators. It's under candle patterns. I don't know if it'll mark it out. We can go look though. So go to Ninja. You can select down to candle patterns. Let's see, candle pattern. I figured we got a minute because there's going to be another setup probably for a minute. Candlestick patterns. Put on candlestick patterns, then go over here and select what patterns you like. So it's either the 3 black crow or the 3 white soldiers, and I'm not sure which one it is. Let's see if it marks them. It may not even do nothing. No. Let's see. I don't know if we got any. A lot of times, let's see if we got any in the back that we missed. They don't pop up that much. Usually it's 3 candles that are like, they're color like white or something like that. All right, guys, so we'll have to sit here for a little bit. Like I said, there's probably not going to be another entry for a minute. We're just going to be probably just consolidating for a little while. We got pretty close to that 100-point trade again. We missed it by like, what, 20 points. It looks like we got up to, what, right at the 60s. We got up 80 points, and we needed that 680 to be one full, like, 100-point move. And this one, we missed by 10 points, actually. This was almost 85-point move from the bottom of this all the way up to here. So we did take 50 points. We just didn't get the 100 like we were shooting for. But that's all good. Just got to be careful jumping in at the top, guys. Don't ever try to jump in at the top. Always wait for some kind of pullback, because there's been plenty of times in my past where like you get the FOMO and you're like, man, this thing's going to continue higher. You jump in, then you're stuck in a drawdown trade, and it just turns into a big mess. And see, with these 5-minute candles, sometimes your stop loss just has to be pretty massive. So that's why I try to jump in as quick as I can. And this way, if it does come back on me, I'm not risking a whole bunch. It was kind of like when I was trying to jump in on these candles here, where I was just using the bottom of the previous candle as my stop loss. So if it didn't go, it was just going to stop me out at the bottom of the candles. So you can see it came pretty close. I wasn't sure if it's going to stop me out, because remember, we had our stop loss sitting right there. I mean, it came back within, what, 5 points from stopping us out. Or maybe not quite 5, because I think that wick was already there. But I think it did come back about within 10 points of stopping us out. So if we don't find any more trades today, let's see. We'll be up about 300 on this account. And this account I was trading overnight in the Asia market with the Methodical Man. So, and we got about $90 last night trading just a couple micros in the overnight session. I'm not very good at the overnight session. I've been practicing, but I suck at overnight. I struggle with that super slow market. I don't do that well. This down here, this is just a sim account. You can see it has SIM 101 beside it. So if you ever see someone says they're trading and you see that, you know that's a paper trade, or that account is not attached to any prop firm or money or anything. And what it is, I had been practicing gold trades, and this was a gold trade. That was from last night. You don't use loss anymore. Everybody has that feeling sometimes, Christian, where they're like, after my stop loss, like the market's watching me. I wouldn't think they would watch me. I don't have anything on the line, but usually like $4 a point. That's why I stick with the minis, guys, because micros will wreck your day real quick. Think one micro 20 points. That's 400 bucks, like off the rip. 20 points on the ES or NQ is like nothing for it to just rip back on you. It's easier if you can just get in small and add if you're good at adding. I don't do very good with adding for some reason. I practice it, but I just still don't do good at it. So this is usually kind of like the boring part of trading, where you just kind of just get to the point that there's no more setups. You don't want to jump back in. You want to protect your profit. So we can probably try a new eval. I think if we do get another setup, it's going to be with a different eval, because I don't think I'm going to have a funded account for a while. I mean, it would have to literally probably trade all the way back below 500 before I have any kind of funded setup. A lot of times this time of the day, if I'm sitting here, a lot of times I forgot to put music on. I'll just sit here and listen to music, watch the stream, try to chat within the chat and listen to music. Just to make the day go by or the morning go by. Are most of you guys in here trading, or are y'all just watching trading? Man, guys, I've been posting about Padeas. If you're wanted to get in trading, I'm hoping they've had 2 sales, but I think it's ended already. I can check real quick. Let me check real quick. But like, if you want to get into trading without spending a lot of money, Padeas is probably the cheapest way to go. So I just recently started trading them just because they're so cheap. Like literally $8 account, and I bought 5 of them because, I mean, 40 bucks for 5 accounts is so hard to kind of pass up. And they're 25Ks. The only bad part is it keeps you from over leveraging because you only get $500 in drawdown. So 1-2 micros per trade, but see, they're static accounts. If you make money, your drawdown gets bigger. So that's what static account means in the prop firm world. So if you have a $500 drawdown when you start out, you make $500. So now you got a $1,000 drawdown, and you got to get to only $1,500. So you make $1,500. You pay the activation fee. I think you're all in for like 88 on the with Padeas. They do have another account setup that's really cheap too. It's more money up front, but you pay no activation fee. It's like $55 all in. It's the same account, but it's $55 all in. But I wouldn't do that if you're not good at passing accounts, because it doesn't hurt my feelings to blow an $8 account compared to, 50 bucks. Yeah, the drawdown. Yeah, usually whenever I trade per day, I'm like two micros max, and try not to risk more than like $50 to $100 per trade. So if you lose $50 to $100 a trade, just put the account away. Or see, with the $8, it's a lifetime account, so you can take as long as you need. And I will cycle through them. So trade one day, another one the next day, or that way if you have one bad day, it's not like running all of your accounts. Let me see if they still have their sale, but I think it ended yesterday. I can't buy anymore because the most you can have is 5. Let's see. Where's my login? And I guess this is a Britain company too. And I know they pay out because I know other streamers that have gotten paid for them. Let me see if it's still going on. I'm trying to figure out where did I log in. All right, let me see if it's still going on here. They only usually do it. They only do it usually for like 24 hours at a time. Yep, it's still $8 probably till the end of the day. Make sure none of my stuff's on here, and I'll pull it down. Yeah. So it usually costs $88, but it's 90% off for $8.80. But you only can trade it on Quantower. If you wanted like trade prop firms, this is probably the cheapest way to do it if you don't mind trading on Quantower. And they only usually do this for like 24 hours. So it probably only lasts usually a day. They did it on Black Friday for a day. And I think they did it for this is probably the Cyber Monday deal is what I'm assuming this is. This is probably the Cyber 24-hour deal for Cyber Monday. But that's probably the cheapest that you can get whenever it comes to... Uh-oh. I lost my chat. Oh, it's over here. Yeah, so that would probably be round about the cheapest for anybody that's new to trading. You know, if you don't want to be, spend a lot of money out the gate. Because you can definitely put a lot of money into trading over the years. Because usually it takes 2 or 3 years to really get comfortable trading. You kind of go through all the emotions of trading. Look at these nice little wicks holding up. See how we were saying if we can get above these wicks here, that you could use those as your support level. So right now we're just kind of contracting another dummy box. Usually this just means that we're going to continue higher and higher most of the times whenever we get the price action like this. So basically what it is, you'll get a big green candle, consolidation, another big green candle, consolidation, but you just never know when we're going to break out. I guess I'm not sure what you're asking. You said I put in $750, got 250 plus. Oh, is that with the Lava Cash account, Aaron? That's totally up to you as far as your money goes. Like as far as cash accounts, because I don't do a cash account. At least I don't usually, you don't ever see me trade on stream with a lot of cash accounts. Most of the stuff you see me trading is either prop firms. So usually I'll let you know if I'm using an eval trade or a funded trade. I would have to be wanting to probably be super, super confident in my strategy before I use to trade overnight. I don't really do that good overnight, Christian. I don't ever have a lot of luck trading overnight. I think just because I'm just not used to the super slow market. And overnight, like sometimes you can be in trade for an hour just looking for 10 points. Yeah, like I said, this is usually the boring part of trading. And see, I hardly ever take the breakouts from these consolidation boxes either. These are like the idiot boxes. So basically what it is whenever we have like 4 or 5 candles, 6 candles that we're just trying to trade sideways. So far, we've had 2 nice setups, and I don't know if we'll get any more. The only other way I would take a trade, unless we pulled all the way back down inside this box here, or right at the top of it. If we can pull all the way back down to here, we will look for another trade. But if not, we'll just sit here and watch. A lot of times I find myself sitting here watching a lot of TradingView. And also your point of control was back at the 489. So that would put us almost in the middle of this 15-minute box. You just entered a long on the SPY. So the S&P, which is the S&P 500. Are you trading minis on that? What size you're using that? Because those are some big accounts. Because what are those, like $50 a point if you have a mini with the S&P? Usually I know I trade micros if I ever take the S&P 500 trades, just because the contracts are so massive. Yeah, we can pull over the SPY. Or S&P 500, I guess. Yeah. So, if you follow Manzini, we could get a sell all the way back to this 25 here. And that could be the bottom for a big, nice ripper. Let me change this right here real quick, and just in case, we'll see what happens. So the smaller charts to the left here, I don't know how well you can see it. That's the S&P 500. And point of control, like I said, is all the way back down at 490. So a lot of times the market likes to go back to that point of control because that's kind of the middle of the line for the bears and bulls. And I use an indicator to get that. It's got, like I said, point of control on it. Where was your entry at on the S&P? Whew. 20 points on the S&P is a lot of points if you're in on a mini. I don't know if you're on a mini, but that's big. 20 points with the S&P, that's $1,000. see. Break that 50. Where could we go? That 50 level. That was that short we were looking for this morning, right? No, that was the never mind. That was 450. We may get a retest of our 15 minutes. We only need like 40 points. I don't know if it'll be, I don't know if I'd put a resting order, but I may try to do like a backdoor. And that's basically what I do is I wait as I follow the candle into the 15 minutes, and I will wait for the pullback to tag me in. This way you can kind of get a better idea how, you know, because you're going to use the bottom of that candle as your stop loss. And that's also right there at the top of that 50, your 50 EMA. So let me change over. It might not pull back in there. It was super quick. See how quick that hit it? You almost have to have a resting order to get those entries. And that was too quick. There was no way for me to get that. And that was almost a 20-point rip off the top of that box there. We might have missed that one. Unless it gives us another push down with this candle. I don't know if it will. We could retrace this back up 50% of this total move here. So that would be back up to 92. Let's see what happens. I don't know. A lot of times it'll rerun these EMAs, so that's why I say 50%. So we could easily push back up to the 21 EMA, which is 70. We break that 21 EMA, more likely we're going back up to the 90s. I still think we're going to that 25 on the ES. That 25 has been Manzini's level. Like I said, this could be the bottom for us to rip all the way back up. Like I said, we hit right at that 15-minute candle. It looks like we hit the top of that candle there. So we hit the top of this candle here. So you would have had your stop loss a little bit, or take profit, or, if you did a resting order, it would have had to been right off the top of this by lut at the top of this big 5-minute candle. If you like to trade off of wicks, because I trade off of wicks a lot. I use wicks as like where I feel like the market's going to go and how hard it's going to be for the market to get through a certain area. Because a lot of times, see, as we were pushing up, we kept popping these wicks here, kept hitting wicks, hitting wicks, hitting wicks. So a lot of times, the more wicks you see, the harder the price action is for it to get through. %50 of this total move is all the way back up at 92. I still feel like we got more room to the downside because that 25 is the target, I think, on the ES. If for anybody that follows Adam Manzini, he's got that 25 level marked out as his main target. That's been his targets for his longs, like for the break entries. I'm pretty sure if you go back and look at the ES and you go look at that 25, you can see how many times we hit that overnight. Then when we finally broke it back above it, it's just been uphill since then. And you can follow Adam Manzini on Twitter, and he usually gives all these levels out for free. No, this wouldn't be a setup here. This is just would be like an eval trade. I like to see if we can kind of get below, kind of close back below the 47.50 area. And we'll just have a tight stop loss. Thank you guys for the follow. We got 5 days to make 1,800. Woo, that's a lot. That's putting the pressure on there, man. That is a no stop loss, full port. Got to be full porting. There comes the 50% of the total pullback. I hate that we missed this total trade. I was hoping for a little bit deeper trade back into that 15 minutes, and we done ripped 70 points off of that level at the 15-minute. And almost every day that we get a big push up, we always pull back to that first 15-minute candle. Never fails. I just was hoping that we would push back inside the 15 minutes, but we did not. So we missed it by like a few points from pushing down in there. Holy goodness. Keeps bouncing between the session highs and lows. I wouldn't mind finding a short and taking this crap all the way down to the London, those London lows at the 450s. So we missed this bounce. There's no jumping in this candle. This thing's just a freight train of a candle. Whew. Man, these 5-minute candles have been insane today, guys. We've been getting like, and this was an inside bar. I totally missed the inside bar. Son of a bee. Was that the first 5-minute inside bar? It was. Look at there. So what you do is on these first 5-minute inside bars, these are usually, a lot of times I'll take these for like 10 points in runners also, or even 20 points in runners. I have to put back on that indicator that marks them out because I forget about them. A lot of times I have an indicator that'll mark these as special, like whatever color I pick, so I don't forget about them. And so what it is, you get the first inside bar, so that means it didn't break this high or break this low. So it's almost like a pullback for the 5 minutes. And whatever side it breaks out, you just get long or get short, and your stop loss is at the bottom of the candle. I usually take these a lot, but like I said, I just forget about them. Ever since I don't have that one indicator on. So today you would have been long at 72, 71, and you're already up almost 50 points. And what it is, the ideal to this, you want to do a 1-for-1. So you have a 30-point stop loss, and you want to have at least a 30-point take profit. Because, you know, like any trade setup, there's no 100%. So there's just no such thing as a win in every single trade. And that's only because I don't usually like taking a lot of drawdown. Man, all we can do is sit here and watch now, guys. Actually, we may even put that on our charts now. This way we don't forget about it. I got to find it real quick. I think it's this. Here it is. I think I had it like purple or something at one time, or indigo, or whatever color that is. It's like a purple color. I gotta find it. There it is. All right, so actually this was the first inside bar here. So let's see how many points this one paid. So usually it's the very first inside bar. Let me take that off. I hate that. So that would have been a fairly big stop loss. Those are I'm a little bit more cautious on when they get up to 40 and 50 points, because that was almost a 45-point stop loss, but it still paid 40 points because you would have been long at 605 and it went all the way up to what, 45? So at least a 40-point candle. So you still would have got your 1-for-1. But a lot of times I'll just enter with 2 micros, look for 10 or 20 points, and just get whatever the runner gives me. If you're looking for like a simple strategy, it doesn't get any easier than this. That's like probably one of the easiest strategy. You just wait for the candle to turn, or wait for an inside bar, even if you don't have it where it does it itself. This is just an indicator that does it for me. And I want to say I got it. I have it free in my Discord, but I want to say I got it off Trade Saber. It was a free indicator. It didn't cost anything. Let me take off the social media stuff on my thing. There we go. We'll start leaving on here. This way we can remember it. Like I said, I forget about it every day. I feel like I already missed my entry, Matt. I feel like I wanted to enter down here by that 15 minutes, and I just feel like I missed it. So I'm already up, so I'm not going to chase at this moment, this time of the morning, because it's almost, 11 o'clock. So, oh, you still don't know how to use the indicators, Christy? I Most of my indicators are all like super simple stuff. I don't use like buy sell indicators. Most of my indicators are like stuff that just marks it out so I remember it. So this is an indicator here also. This little box that you see, this is called a open range indicator, and I have it also free in my Discord too for anybody that uses Ninja. So with that one, it's right here at the bottom, opening range. So basically what it is, you put it on your charts, then you select the time you want. I live in Central Time, so I have to be an hour behind the market open. So a lot of times you'll hear me say Central Time when I try to stay on the Eastern Time just because that's what the market runs on. But every now and then you'll hear me use the Central Time zone, but I try not to. What's up, Young? If you're just starting out trading, I would definitely just watch a lot of charts times and just watch, like maybe get trading view and just watch for chart patterns, or watch as many people as you can until you find something that works for yourself. Because what I've learned most of the time, even though you watch other people trade what strategy they use, it is really hard to follow people online. That's why I tell everybody there's always a 5 to 7 second delay probably when you're watching me. So when you see me entered, I'm already in that short. So that's why a lot of times I'll tell you what I'm looking for and not necessarily when I'm going to hit the button, just because I know about the delay. Like YouTube, I know it's 5 or 6 seconds. TikTok, I'm not sure. Well, yeah, definitely just look, like I said, I mean, there's so many people streaming that I would just watch as many people as you can just to see what strategy works best for yourself. Wow, that 5 minute inside bar is just ripping, guys. We're already up over 100 points off of that 15-minute retest. So a lot of times later in the morning, if I miss my entry, I won't try to get in it. I will just sit there and watch it. I mean, we had another 100-point setup right here that I missed. I even said if we pull back, I was really hoping for a deeper pullback inside the 15 minutes, but man, it hit right on top of it and just to the moon. That's the only hard part about jumping into trades sometimes. If it's not near your entry where you can have like that short stop loss, like I said, I don't like having big stop loss. So I try to keep my stop loss as tight as I can. That way, if I take a loss, it's not like a massive loss. Then all you got to do is catch one of these big moves. You get all your profit back in some. So even if we can't find another trade, say in the next 30 minutes, because we're only going to stay on here till 11:30, we'll just keep the profit we got and come back tomorrow morning. We may not get a funded trade. For my funded trade, I need to be back below 550. So Matt, what account do you got to make $1,800 on? Like, what prop firm is that? Thank you guys for the likes and follows today. Man, what a rip. So these are the kind of, Top Step 50K. Nice. I've only used Top Step maybe once or twice. When I first started trading, a lot of people used Top Step, but they were always too expensive for me in the beginning. And so if you're just starting out trading, I would definitely recommend the cheapest prop firm you can find, because most of the time you're going to blow your evals, you're going to blow your funded accounts. And the cheaper you get that, the better sometimes, because you're just starting out to you kind of just hone your skills, because it does take at least a year or two of just consistently doing this to recognize these patterns that happen over and over. And that's really the key. Just finding a pattern that works for you, or whatever type of trader you are. Like, I know there's a lot of like ICT traders out there, and you have to be very patient to trade ICT stuff too. So you have to wait for like highs, lows, pullbacks into the gaps, or breaker blocks. So a lot of different stuff to the ICT stuff. My trading is super simple. Most of my stuff is mostly breakouts or support and resistance. So this morning, this is a breakout. Look, 3 candle pullback, breakouts. This down here would be like a support and resistance type level off of the 15-minute candle. So these are my 2 trades for my big trades this morning. This morning was a fake out to the downside. So we did try the short this morning because we had a level that we were targeting down at the 50 today, but we did not get there. And it was early in the morning, so I was going to break even pretty fast. That's why I was saying as soon as I got my 10 points, we were going to break even. So that's pretty much what we did. But then once I saw this candle reversing and it got outside this 15 minutes, then I saw that little wick. That's when we entered, because I knew that was going to be the resistance area for this move up. And I said I would take another trade if we pull back into this 15 minutes, because we always retrace this 15 minutes almost every day that we have a big move up. I didn't really think much about this candle right here, and that's where we hit. We pretty much hit the top of this candle right here. You can literally probably put that on its wick. Look, wick to wick. There's the wick. There's the wick. Oh, no, it was right above it. I'm sorry, it didn't hit it. So it was like, it's about, it looks like less than a point above it. Unless you really zoom in, you can't see it. But it was right at it. Sometimes on these support and resistant areas, you almost need to front run it a few points sometimes. I have looked at that one too. Actually, that's where I started. I started looking at this probably last year sometime, or earlier this year. I just recently started trading this consistently, Matt, because I usually, if I see something I like, I'll just watch it like every single day just to see what it does and try to recognize the patterns. And it was actually, I saw somebody trading this on the ES, that first 15 minutes. That 9 o'clock to 9:15, 15-minute candle of the day, because the New York session is supposed to open at 9 o'clock, and that's what candle that is. A lot of people trade that 15 minutes from 9:30 to 9:45, but I've never had a lot of luck with that one. This one has been much easier and better to me. I've had a lot more luck trading this one. But if I wasn't going to take this right here was probably your next best setup here. So a lot of times if you can get 2 to 3 5-minute candle pullback and a little bull flag. And I think, what did this one pay? Almost 80 points. So we missed 100 points by 20 points this morning off of that bull flag setup. Then when we were way up here, I said that I would try to take a trade if we pull back into the 15 minutes. I sat there and watched it happen, didn't enter it. I was like, oh, crap, I missed it. Then we had this 5-minute breakout. So tomorrow, we're going to watch for these 5-minute inside bars. And we will take those tomorrow on evals, those 5-minute inside bars. Man. Usually you don't take the second one. Most time you just take the first one. And this was the first one here, guys. So that's how you do the 5-minute inside bar. You only take the very first one. You don't really sit here and take all of them. I know I've heard of some streamers doing that, but the rule of it is you take the very first one. Look for 20 points or go 1 for 1. Yeah, that's what I'm using. Now, is that Central Time, Matt? That 8 o'clock to 8:15? Or is that Eastern? Okay. So yeah, so it means we're on the same time zone. So that's what I used to, is that oh wait, the 8 a.m. Eastern pre-market. Okay, see, I've never tried that one. Let's put that one on and see what it looks like. I bet you it almost lines up with this one this morning. Looks like it almost lines up with this one because there wasn't a lot of movement this morning from 8 o'clock until then. So it'd have been at, what, 7 o'clock my time. So it'd have been right here. So guys, we've had just 3 opportunities this morning. We got 2 of them and missed the third one. And I don't know if we'll be able to get another entry just because I'm not going to buy in up at the top here, because this will usually get me in trouble if I get the FOMO. And that's usually what happens. You get FOMO when you see the market going up like this, and it makes you want to jump in. Then you get some kind of big pullback, then you're stuck in a trade. Sometimes it's better to let the trade go if you miss your entry. And I did. That's why we didn't enter this. We just let it go because we missed it. So I used to trade the 1 minute. Let's see how the 1 minute looks, because I used to trade off the 1 minute all the time. But the 5 minute has helped me a lot more patience. So look how ugly this pullback is on the 1 minute. See how much more cleaner that 5 minute look? See, I used to get myself in trouble with a lot of false breakouts on the 1 minute. So that's why I switched over to the 5 minute. It's so much easier. It takes 15 of these little 1 minute candles to make 3 of those 5 minute candles. And it allows you to be patient. It keeps you from over trading. That's just for me. I used to trade the 1 minute all the time, and I had a hard time not trading on the 1 minute. But over the last few months, or 4 or 5 months, I've switched over to the 5 minutes. So it definitely a lot easier. You can see how much cleaner this bull flag looks. Look at just 3 little candles, nice little break. So much easier and cleaner to look at. And I know some people that trade off like the 15 seconds, the 30 seconds, or even the 10 seconds. I've never been very good at those type of trading. Like I said, that's what I was telling anybody that's new. You just kind of have to just find what works for yourself. And just take in what you learn from just different people online. Because like I said, everybody does different things. Even when you pick up, say, you say, oh, that sounds good, I may try that. Just try it. If it works for you, good. If not, watch other streamers. Everybody uses something different. And just take a combination of things. But I have found that it's hard to watch people trade and trade to trade their entries just because of the delay. So that's why I'd let you know there's a delay. Or a lot of times I'll put the lines on here. So that's why I'm putting these lines on here. So you know that, hey, I'm probably looking for a setup here. Or so earlier, whenever I was watching this bear flag, I took the first one here. Like I thought we would have a 2 candle. We got 10 points, but our runner got stopped out. So then we had the 3rd candle print right here. And so a lot of times that's what you'll see me put on the map here. Because, you know, I'm going to enter as soon as we break the close of that candle. So even though you got these wicks and stuff, the close and the openings is on the body. And a lot of times I trade off the body. So once it breaks that body, we got long. And then I use the bottom of this candle as my stop loss. For the 15 minutes, if you want to stop loss there, I would use probably 50% of this candle here as your stop loss. So you just have to pull fib real quick. And your stop loss for that had been back down there around the 500s, which that means you would have had about a 20-point stop loss on this trade here if you had taken it. That was one thing I also struggled a lot when I first started trading is where my stop loss needs to be. Some people don't trade with stop loss. Some people just don't, you know, they just let it go. And either they'll DCA back in. I know some people will DCA. Some prop firms will let you DCA, mostly on evals. Then fundeds, I'm not really sure. Everybody's a little different, where you just constantly buy back into the order. So like, let's just say you took a long up here and this thing pulled all the way back on you. So this is what you're hoping for when you DCA, and you want to enter on whole number. So maybe you would take a entry on the whole number. Okay, that failed. Then you would wait for the 50 to get hit, then add another entry. Then your next entry would be the 500s, which we didn't get down to the 500s. So that's the purpose of entering on micro sometimes. It actually can help you if you get caught in a bad trade. You can DCA out of it. So you could have DCA'd out of this trade and you would have been back in the profit as it pushed back up. For anybody that does the DCA in or dollar averaging cost back in. Matt, are you still in your trade? Oh, hopping off. Okay, so he might already got out of his trade already. I know Matt said he was in a ES trade. Yeah, I'm probably going to be done in about 10, 15 minutes. I don't think we're going to get another entry because I have somewhere I have to be at 12 o'clock today. So a lot of times we just trade for about 2.5 hours or watch charts for 2.5 hours. We try to get all of our trading done in this first hour. And that's another thing that I used to do bad. So I would stay on the stream till lunchtime and find myself trading during the lunch hours and get myself in trouble. If you don't want to do that, here's another good indicator that you can use on TradingView. Let me get it over here. It's called ICT kill zones with pivots. So this morning, whenever I was taking that short, so that short was what over here where the New York AM session started. If we push to the downside, this is why I said that we were going to try to target the 50s because that's the top of the London session there in the Asia market also. Then if we got through those levels, you could have probably targeted the London lows all the way down at 322s, but we didn't get those and we pushed all the way back up. But we may get that later in the day, like during the PM session. So look at, this is almost the same thing. Like yesterday, we didn't get to the London lows. Did we even get back to the London lows yesterday? No, we actually started out at the London lows yesterday. That's what it was. So we opened below the London lows yesterday, then pushed up to the London highs before we had a pullback. So what this does, this will put your lunch hour on there. As you can see, I pointed this out a few times. You can see that we always mostly consolidate during our lunch hour. Then after the lunch hour, you'll get usually a nice move. So consolidation. Had a decent move here in the lunch hour. So had at least one consolidation. This is why we don't trade during the lunch hour, because of this. Most of the days, the price actions like this. Every now and then, you might get a nice little move, but most of the days it's just like this. You can see it's just chopping sideways, and we didn't get anything until what, 1:30. It finally moved up. Looks like there was a nice move right here during the lunch hour back on the 18th of November. Same there. Small consolidation. So this is a nice indicator. Also, it gives you targets too. Like, I use these as targets for most part. This is how I use this indicator. It's just targets. So a lot of times I look for my entry and I look for a target. And so like this morning, 451 was my target to the downside. I didn't really have any target to the upside because we looked to the left and we haven't really been up to those 600s in a while. I think you have to go pretty far back to get those 600s. So during the lunch hour, we could easily break all the way back and take out these London lows. So like I said, most of my indicators are like level base. And that's because I like to take breakout trades, then you're just looking for levels. Is there anybody else in a position right now? We'll mark it out for you or something, or we can. I'm always curious about what other people are trading and what they're doing. I know everybody trades different what is it? Like the ES or NASDAQ or the SPY or gold or something to that. I've been watching gold, but I haven't really had any luck with gold. I think when I first started trading, I was trading the ES. All right, let me see where. Ooh, do we get a funded setup? Let's see, where's the break of that? 55. Man, it's right on top of that, and it would have to close. I would have to close. I have to close below the 20. I would need a candle to close right now below the 30 level, and I guess that would be kind of below that 15-minute range. Let's see here. Let me turn my copy trader off because I had my copy trader on. All right, let's see if we get this set up here. So basically, we'd have to sell through that 15 minutes. The VWAP? No. Wow, this thing is giving some really nice moves today, guys. Take off some of this stuff so it's not distracting. Oof. Talking about boner candle here. Dude, are we going to close before? Holy crap. That's insane, guys. Insane. All right. We're going to look for a short here if we close. If this candle is closed below that 28 level. We're just going to look for 10 points in a runner. We hit off of the 28. So it has to... I really want to see it close below 28. Just because it's at that 15-minute opening range. So that's what we just hit. At least get 10 points out of this. Maybe a trade down to the 500, maybe? Push down to the 500s. All right. We're about to break inside that 15 minutes again. Ooh, this thing's hanging on. 20 seconds left. We may not get it. It's not going to close below that level. It has to close. You almost need a candle to close below 528 here. So we got 10 seconds. Son of a bee. I don't think it's going to close. Really needed to see my other line cross over the other line. Usually, I think it works better whenever you have your lines cross. If it doesn't close below it, we could always kind of just try eval here. So the 15 minutes is here. And this thing could literally rip all the way back up off this 15-minute candle. So you just kind of have to be careful around this 15-minute candle. Time is it? 11:15. There's the 50% of the candle. 40%. So it looks like it just topped off the 40%. Ooh. It looks like there's a lot of green for us to take out to the bottom side. Was that a 5-minute breakout right there? Possibly a 5-minute breakout too. Yep, that was a 5-minute breakout candle. If you like to trade the 5-minute candles on the breakouts for a huge 5-minute trend line, you're just waiting for 3 hits. First hit, second hit, third hit, then third candle. You're looking for a break. Because we could always go down and take out this leg here at the 360s. So right now we're kind of stuck on the top of that 15-minute candle. So pretty much the same spot as this last candle that we got stuck. But I would not even consider taking this on the third hit. Third hit is never, or second hit is never a positive hit. Anytime that you're taking a trade and that thing hits it the third time, it's just best to stay away from that thing. I was seeing if we got short here, how many wicks it would have to hit. So anytime you're going to take a trade, always look to the left and see how many wicks there are through here. See all this messy stuff right here? It's going to take us a lot to get through that. All right, we just broke inside the 15 minutes. You got 30 seconds left on this candle. See if it closes below that level. It needs to close below 26. Nope. You're not going to get the close below 26. See, it's already pulled back. Like I said, getting short here would be pretty tough just because of all these wicks here. I just feel like it would take a lot for us to get through this. I mean, I think we will, but it's just going to be a lot of back and forth. You can almost follow your wicks down. So look, wick, wick, wick. You're going to hit it multiple times. Then if you get through that level, you got to get through all of these wicks here. So you're going to have about 10 5-minute candles that you got to get through. So the shorts are going to be super tough to do the shorts. It's not going to be quick. But if you can break the, hell, even all the way down to the 60s would be your next one. If you got through the 500s, man, there's just so many wicks down through there. And you know, most time on your shorts, they're fast. They're like super fast. See if we can get something to close below 27, 28, and we may just look for an eval short if we do. I don't like the way the price action looks for a funded account. All right, there's the first push below that. So now let's see if we can wait for a new candle to print. $471 will be a possible target. Still got a lot of time left on this 5-minute candle. Got 2 minutes left. We're at the bottom. We just pushed through the bottom of that first 15-minute candle from earlier. So if this can print, you can look and use these 15 minutes candle as a support, as like your stop loss or something, depending on what this next candle does. Wow, this thing is just on a tear. There's the low of your AM session. One minute left still. What time is it? Oh, shoot. It's around 11:32. Let's see. The next target down is going to be 450 if we can get through these 70s. That'll be the top of your London there. I'm hoping we get a new printed candle with a pullback here is what we're looking for. So we got 30 seconds left on this candle. You want to see at least a 23% pullback would be the nicer of the pullback, or even a 50% pullback or 38% pullback, and that would be right there at the bottom of that 15-minute range. $16 seconds left. If we don't get no pullback, we might not be able to jump in here. We really need to see a pullback first. It makes it easier to jump in. Ah, no, it's not pulling back either. Okay, there it goes. 20, there's the 20%. You want to see the 15 hold? Then use the bottom of that 15-minute as your stop loss. You want it to be super quick. Ah. All right, not too bad. Runner may get stopped out here, guys. I don't care about staying in this trade a long time because I have to leave. So 51 is probably going to be your bounce spot, so you got to be aware of that. So that's why we were trying to get in that before it hit that 50. 51 was your bounce. That was a target to the downside. Unless we break that 50, we could go a long ways down if we break that 50. But if we don't break the 50, it's going back up. Because that's that London high area. That's that area I showed you on those ICT kill zone pivots. So we broke through the 15 minutes. You got a nice retest of the 15 minutes. It never pulled back over 40% of the candle. And so I usually do this kind of like a backdoor. I call it the backdoor action because what it is, that means I'm waiting on the trade to come back. So if I'm looking for short, I'll put my order way down here and just kind of follow it up to see what it's going to do. This way it keeps me from getting trapped into trades that just take off on me. Because a lot of times when it reverses, it's just going to be real quick. Most of the time, it's like a quick 10 points, get in and out. All right, so that pushed us over 325 for the day, and that was going to be my last trade of the day. it didn't work out the way I was hoping to do. I was hoping it would just print right below that 528, 527. But as you can see, it just waterfalled. And there was just no way for me to jump into that because I don't jump into these waterfall type candles. I have to sit here and wait for the next candle to print before I can jump in. And what I do is I pull Fibonacci's on all these big candles. So I make sure that we're not, because anything over 50%, I exit out. Most of the time, if it gets above the 60%, like that candle is no longer any good and it's going back up to the top. All right, guys. Thanks everybody for watching today and hanging out. Thank you guys all for the likes and subscribes today. Hopefully hopefully most of you guys got to finish green today. Like I said, this is all like super simple type trading. There's no fancy setup. It's all support and resistance pretty much. Most of it's surrounded by this 15 minutes. So look, first breakout of the, well, actually we had a false breakout here. We took 10 points, but our runner got stopped out. So then we saw the candle start pushing back to the top. This is usually the best move that I've seen when this happens. So whenever it pushes through this previous 15 minutes and you get that nice little short wick back into the 15 minutes, and I'll have my order resting at the top of this close as this is pushing back in there, and I'll get long from the top of this candle here. And then just ride it up and see what you can get. And we had a retest. I missed a retest. I talked about it, but I just missed it, and it went up another 100 points. The second trade was a bear flag or bull flag. So it had a 3 candle pullback. So usually I get long off either 2 or 3 red candle pullbacks on the 5 minutes, and I get long at the body. So I don't wait for the wick. I usually do the body. So you see the body, I got long off the body. So this was my long. I got long twice. This one I got stopped out for a break even. I did hit the 10 points. This one right here, we got a nice trade out of this one. That was our second big trade. And we didn't really take anything into here until you saw me take this. So pretty good today. Thank you guys for watching. Be safe if you're going to trade during the lunch hour. Remember I said during the lunch hour starts in 30 minutes at 11 o'clock today or 12 o'clock today. It'll turn into choppy price action. So just be careful if you are trading the lunch hour. Thank you guys. Oh, I forgot to turn on my screen on the, sorry about that, over here on TikTok.